We're talking to LC.N's Matthew Broadbent. Hello, Matthew.
Hello.
We're talking about application deadlines and submitting applications early today. The big deadline for lots and lots of firms is the 31st of July, so students still have quite a lot of time to get their applications in, but should they really be leaving it till the last minute?
Well, the answer to that's absolutely not. Applications received in the last week before the deadline are generally considered to be weaker, quite often less well prepared. I think there are two things to really consider here. One is with regard to your own application, the work you're putting into it, your level of preparedness. Well, the more you're running up against a deadline, the more likely you're going to be rushing, that you've not done the correct preparation, that you will be compromising on the quality of your application. This is very common as well where people are trying to do too many applications. They're trying to cram in as many as they can before they get under the wire, and that's just not good policy. An application really needs to be a reasonably lengthy and considered process, so make sure you do it early. One of the key things, of course, you need to be doing is showing it to other people, reading it to other people, doing all the things that you need to do to make sure it looks convincing, to make sure it looks like it's of high quality. I was actually talking to careers advisors just today who were talking about the horror when they are presented with an application on the afternoon of the deadline, with the candidate confidently thinking, oh well, I'll just chuck this past the advisor, make sure that it's okay, and I'm just going to be sending it in. And the reality is they need to start again. So for your own personal quality, you really want to be making sure that you've got lots of time, that you set yourself a much earlier deadline, because things inevitably take longer than you expect.
You also talk to a lot of recruiters. Is it true that, you know, by the very nature of them receiving such a high volume of applications, that they'll start assessing applications and maybe handing out interview offers before the deadline has actually passed?
Yeah, I mean, I think you've put yourself in the recruiter's shoes. I mean, this is particularly prevalent actually for vacation scheme applications, because in those cases they will start offering places on the VAC scheme, you know, as soon as they see good applications, because they're looking to try and get people in before somebody else gets their hands on the candidates. So that's particularly prevalent. But the same is true for training contracts. If you're a recruiter, you don't really want to store up a massive pile of things to work through, so you'll try and keep on top of it as time goes by in the weeks running up to the deadline. But as we approach the deadline and the volume of applications go up, inevitably you're going to be pressed to get through them. You're possibly not going to be giving them as much time as you would like to. You're also going to be thinking again about, can we get our hands on these people before other recruiters are offering them. This is particularly prevalent in the current situation where we see the voluntary code is seeming to be eroded, though with luck that will be reborn. But there is certainly, in the eyes of a recruiter, a potential for saying, if I don't get this processed sooner rather than later, I might miss out on this person. But the fundamental issue is, nearer the deadline, there's a logjam, and that's just going to be disadvantageous to you if you're one of the people in that logjam.
So it really does just pay to get on the case as early as possible, because, you know, we say time and again how time-consuming applications should be, but that's still no excuse for cutting corners and kind of writing mass applications using the same wording to different firms.
Yeah, absolutely. You need to give yourself a proper schedule to make the application, and a key part of that is giving yourself the leeway for things to slip a little, because if you're running on a schedule that has no give in it, you will inevitably make mistakes. It's just a fact of life.
Thanks, Matt.
You're welcome.